So today is my turn to draw the cell. And so I'm going to explain how I healed my body, how the pump program gave me the tools to heal my body on a cellular level. So this is a cell, right? We have trillions of them in our body. And each cell has a bilipid layer, so fat, double fat layer, right? That keeps a cell healthy and functioning. And so the types of fats you take in, fat supplements that you take in, oil supplements you take in are super important, right? Because this is actually making up our cell membrane. And what this cell is meant to do is allow nutrients in and toxins out, right? And so what happens for somebody who is just bombarded with toxins, has had COVID that's caused inflammation, has like multiple sources, right, of infection and toxins and things that are getting to the point where these cells are no longer healthy, right? This is a cellular level issue. What happens is these cells get inflamed, right? So the whole cell's inflamed, right? And, it's a cellular danger response, right? Something is very wrong here. And it's a chronic inflammatory response, right? And that is caused by toxins. So these are the toxins, right? Impacting that cell. And we also have in that cell, right, our DNA, right? DNA. And then we also have our ATP, right? And there's also a very vulnerable lipid membrane around the ATP. And so this is another level, right? We get this inflammation down and then we're healing this membrane, right? This is R3, right? Reestablishing, restoring cellular energy, right? So getting that ATP, getting the mitochondria out, right? That's why every single one of us that ends up having this cellular danger response has chronic fatigue, right? Because the ATP isn't working, the mitochondria can't get out of the cell either. And then, we have also these receptors, right? This is the innate intelligence of the cell, right? It's communicating and bringing things in and out of the cell, and it's directly affecting our DNA, right? And so when the cell is full of toxins that can't get out, nutrients can't get in, this cellular the cellular inflammation is keeping these receptors, right? There's inflammation around it, so these receptors can't take things in, and it is affecting our DNA. And so your gene mutations, right, that were not already activated will become activated or become more activated. It's pretty crazy how much worse it gets, right? You might have had some symptoms, right, of the MTHFR gene mutation, COMT, DAO, but when this inflammation is really high, that all gets so much worse, as I experienced. So healing the cell, right? Omega-6, healthy, unadulterated forms of omega-6 to heal the cell. PC oil, balance oil are two that, I use regularly. And healing the cell membrane, getting the inflammation down, which with the PAMPA program, we do a lot with diet, right? You can really reduce inflammation with diet, with keto, with fasting. We get this inflammation down and, with supplements and diet, right? And a lot of that dietary stuff, the more extreme versions of it are temporary. We got to get this inflammation down, right? And then as you go, once the inflammation's down, the toxins are coming out, the nutrients are getting in, your cellular energy is working, your gene mutations are turning off, right? Everything's methylating, everything's doing what it's supposed to do. Then you figure out what type of diet lifestyle you want to do moving forward, right? And that's the nice thing is, a lot of this stuff, we're not just taking a pill for an ill. We are taking a lot of supplements and making a lot of, for what many people are going to be more extreme dietary changes temporarily, so that we can heal this cell, so we can get all of this working the way it's supposed to, right? And once the toxins that are disrupting all this function are out, the nutrients are getting in, then I wake up every morning and I check in with my energy levels. I, check in with my hormone levels. I just kind of see how I feel. And I take supplements and eat accordingly to what my body needs that day, right? I don't really take that many supplements anymore. And, if I do decide to eat something that maybe isn't the best for me once in a while, my body can now handle that. It does not trigger the cellular inflammation because of all of the healing I've done on the cellular level. This is amazing. Like, this is where it's at. The other thing I want to mention as a mental health therapist is the other type of toxin, right? These X's, they get trapped in here, is toxic stress and trauma, right? So I experienced this with some clients, and then when I got really sick, I experienced it myself. EMDR therapy, which I love, it didn't work the same way when I had this cellular inflammation, because the trauma couldn't get out of the cell. It's stored on a cellular level like every other toxin. Your toxic stress is a part of your toxic load. It's one of the things that is filling your cup, your toxic load cup, right? And so a lot of times doctors will send people to therapy when they have gut issues and they have autoimmune illnesses and chronic illnesses, because they also have depression and anxiety, right? Their body is saying something is very wrong in here, right? And that includes depression and anxiety and other mental health symptoms. And so they send them to me, and, I do the types of therapy I do to release trauma. And when it doesn't work, right, I start asking maybe some more intrusive questions about their health and their environment.